Hello everybody, my name is JMan21 and welcome to the first official video of Slay the Spire. I had already recorded an episode of this game. Unfortunately, the sound was way too loud on the game's side and you could not hear me one bit. So, as you can see, there are a couple things unlocked and we have a second character. I have played one playthrough of this game. Once. Only got to the first boss. Didn't really do much. Didn't even unlock the next set of cards for the base character, so nothing much has changed. It's just a little disappointing on my end. But, Slay the Spire is a deck building roguelike in which you climb the spire to eventually defeat each of the bosses on all three of the floors, collecting cards and relics and potions to make yourself more powerful. And yeah, it's a lot similar to something like Hearthstone that a lot of people would probably be familiar with, but with roguelike elements thrown in. So starting off, we're going to start with the base character, the Ironclad, starting with 80 HP, 99 gold, and Burning Blood. At the start of the combat, heal 6 HP, so this is a relic that we keep with us for the entirety of the run. The remaining soldier of the Ironclads sold his soul to harness demonic energies. So we're just going to start a run. Greetings, I am Meow. So this little whale man, I say little, but little whale man. This little whale man is essentially the being that brings us back from the dead whenever we finish a run. So he gives us certain benefits and not so benefits to us at the start of the run, which we can choose. We get to choose one, and it will give us something throughout the rest of the run. So I always like choosing a card to obtain. It gives you something to build around at the start. Although obtaining a random rare relic is very enticing. Yeah, screw it. We'll go with the rare relic. Giria. So this relic, you can now gain strength at rest sites up to 3 times. So strength is a modifier that adds additional damage to your attacks. So we'll encounter that a bit more as I go towards more rest sites. So kind of want to look for rest sites. So we can get 4 rest sites along this path and have 3 strength before we get to the boss. So real quick, I'll go through each of the spaces that are on the right hand side of the screen here. There we have elite spaces, which are up the middle here and one up here. Essentially they're more powerful enemies that drop better rewards and drop relics. Enemies are the complete inverse of that, I guess. They are the weaker versions of an elite, or just your normal enemies. But they drop cards and potions, anything an elite would drop, but just no relics and not as powerful cards. Rest sites are essentially a space where you can choose to either heal or upgrade a card, or in our case, we are also able to gain strength. The treasure space is a space where you can find relics and gold in a chest. A merchant is where you spend the gold that you find throughout the run to purchase different relics or cards or potions, or remove cards from your deck. The unknown spaces are a space where you can encounter anything. That's why it's unknown. You don't know what it's going to be. So it could be treasures, it could be monsters, it could be a shop, it could be a random event, anything like that. So as you can see here, we have the base deck. You have the strikes, which deal damage to your enemies, and then the defends, which defend you from damage that enemies would deal to you. We also have Bash here, which is an attacking card that deals 8 damage and also applies to vulnerable to the enemy. So vulnerable is an effect that makes creatures take 50% more damage, from your attacks. So that's going to be pretty nice with the extra strength that we gain. So I'm going to move off to this right side here, trying to get to these rest sites so that we can get strength. So I'll explain the mechanics a bit as we go through. So essentially you start off drawing 5 cards in your hand. Down the bottom left here you can see the energy counter, further down on the left you can see the draw pile and our discard pile. So whenever you play a card, it removes the energy from your energy counter according to the amount of energy in the top left hand corner of the card. So as you can see, Bash has 2 and the Strike has 1. When you play a card, it goes into your discard pile unless otherwise specified. And once you run out of cards in your draw pile, your discard pile shuffles into the deck and you draw a new hand. So here, I'm going to apply Vulnerable to the enemy and block the damage that's incoming. So above the enemy, you can see its intent. So it's intent on attacking me this turn for 11 damage. So I'm going to choose to block 5 of that damage, so we only take 6. But because of our Burning Blood, we'll heal that at the end of combat. And I don't really need to worry about it so much. So here, the enemy does not intend on attacking me, it intends to use a buff. So I don't need to defend. Here, I'm just going to block all the damage that the enemy throws at me and kill on this turn. So here we gain some gold for defeating the enemy and we get a card selection. So we'll be given 3 cards to choose from. We get to pick 1 or we can skip and it gets added to the deck. So here we have Pummel Strike, 1 cost for energy and deals 9 damage and draws a card. We also have Dropkick, which is also 1 cost, deal 5 damage if the enemy has Vulnerable, gain an energy and draw a card. We also have Blood for Blood, which costs 4, but it costs 1 less for each time you lose HP this combat, and it deals 18 damage. I think I'm going to take Pummel Strike, because the draw is nice. Here we have an event, so I find some potions. Potions are added to our potion slots. Up the top here, we can have 3 at any time, and at any time during a combat, I can use one of them to gain their benefits. So we have Essence of Steel, gain 4 plated armor, which is essentially an effect that gives me block at the end of my turn. So it gives me 4 plated armor, so I get 4 block at the end of my turn. We also have Snecko Oil, which is draw 5 cards and randomize the cost of cards in your hand. So that means that the energy cost of every card in my hand will be randomized from a number from 0 to 3. Then we have Heart of Iron, which gives me 6 Metallicize. Metallicize is similar to plated armor, but unlike Metallicize, plated armor, when we get attacked, it will remove 1 plated armor from us. Metallicize just stays there. So here we're going to go to an unknown space and we get thrown into an enemy combat. So here I'm going to attack because the enemy does not intend to attack me, so I don't need to defend. Here I'm not too worried about taking 6 damage because we heal at the end of the combat, so I'll just make it easier to kill next turn. Here we gain some more gold and we have a potion. I think the Dexterity Potion is probably better than the Plated Steel, so I'll take it. So Dexterity Potion, gain 2 Dexterity. Dexterity improves block gain from cards. So similar to Strength, it increases the amount of block that we get from a particular card. Here we get another card selection. We have Carnage, deal 20 damage, and it is ethereal. If it is in my hand at the end of turn, it gets exhausted. Exhausted cards are removed from your deck until the end of combat. Burning Pact, another exhaust card, so you exhaust 1 card from your hand and draw 2 cards. Iron Wave, gain 5 block and deal 5 damage. Because I want to be quite aggressive with this deck, I think I'm going to take Carnage. It's just going to help us defeat elites early on. So here we have another event. You find a shimmering mass of light encompassing the center of the room. It's warm and enchanting patterns invite you in. So I can enter and upgrade 2 random cards, but I lose some HP, or I can just leave. I'm going to choose to upgrade the cards. And I got Carnage, which is great. As you walk through the light, you notice that the light is absorbed into you. It's scorching hot, however the pain quickly recedes. You feel invigorated, as though you received a well-deserved slap. So here we have another enemy space. And these enemies have an effect called Curl Up. On receiving damage, it rolls up and gains 5 block. So when I attack it, it rolls up and it gains 5 block. And I have to go through that block to deal damage to it. So I'm just going to attack the other one to use that effect so that I don't have to deal with that block in later turns. Here I'm going to just go for the kill. Here we gain some gold and another card choice. So we have Metallicize. At the end of your turn, gain 3 block. Now Metallicize is a power card, so when I play this, it removes itself from my deck for the rest of the combat and gives me a passive effect, which is gaining block at the end of my turn. Anger is a 0 cost attack. Deal 6 damage, add a copy of this card into your discard pile. So when I play this, it will add essentially 2 angers into my discard pile instead of just 1 going into my discard pile. So here we also have Blood for Blood again. I've already seen this card. I'm not too interested in any of these, so I'm going to leave them be. So here we have a elite space. So this is a more powerful enemy that will drop a relic afterwards. So this enemy has Metallicize, so it gains 8 block per turn, and it's also sleeping. So this particular enemy will sleep for 3 turns, and then it will wake up and attack us. If I hit it and deal damage to its HP through the block, it will wake up and attempt to attack me as well. So here, because I don't want to lose my Carnage, I'm going to play it, which means I wake it up, and then just hit it with a strike again. So here it is going to attack me, and I'll attempt to block some of the damage, and then hit it with a strike. So this enemy, as the battle progresses, lowers both your strength and your dex, so I don't want to stay in this combat too long, because otherwise I won't be able to deal any damage. The Carnage is making this a lot easier though, because I have some big damage. So we take a considerable amount of damage in this fight, but should be okay. In fact, we are. So here we get the Moorbank. Whenever you climb a floor, gain 12 gold. No longer works when you spend any gold at a shop. We get another card selection. Armaments, gain 5 block. Upgrade a card in your hand for the rest of combat. Flex, gain 2 strength. At the end of this turn, lose 2 strength. And Anger, once again, I'm going to pick up the Armaments because it lets me upgrade cards in my deck without upgrading them. So it means that at rest sites, instead of choosing to upgrade a card, I'm more incentivized to gain the strength, which I will do. Here, I'm going to veer off to the left to go to this merchant to hopefully find something helpful. Which we kind of do. Thunderclap is a good card, so Thunderclap, deal 4 damage and apply 1 vulnerable to all enemies. So it means I deal more damage to each enemy. And I'll also pick up Intimidate. So Intimidate applies 1 weak to all enemies and then exhausts. Weakened creatures deal 25% less damage with attacks. So I'm not going to read through every card and every relic in the shop because there's a lot of them and it will take a lot of time. So I will just hover over the relics quickly if you want to pause the video and look at them. But if any cards or relics come up in card selections or reward screens, I will read them out. Here's one set. Here's one such example. So we get gold and Orichalcum. If you end your turn without block, gain 6 block. I'm also going to choose to go to this elite space over to the left. So we'll Lift again for more strength. And then go to an unknown space. You enter a corridor full of hypnotizing colored mushrooms. Due to your lack of specialization in mycology, you are unable to identify the specimens. You want to escape, but you feel oddly compelled to eat a mushroom. Stomp, anger the mushrooms, or eat, heal 18 HP, and become cursed with Parasite. I don't want to receive a curse, so I'm going to anger the mushrooms and fight them. Ambushed. Rodents infested by the mushrooms appear out of nowhere. So each of these enemies have an effect called Spore Cloud. On death, it applies 2 vulnerable to me, so it will deal more damage to me. Here, I'm just going to kill the backliner and then gain some block so that I don't take too much damage. Then use Thunderclap and defend. Here, the other enemy is not attacking, so I'll just be able to kill the frontliner without any problems. And I should be able to kill you, yeah, quite quickly. So here we get some more gold and the odd mushroom. When vulnerable, take 25% more attack damage rather than 50%. So when I get inflicted with vulnerable, instead of taking 50% more damage, I take 25. We also have the Fear Potion, which applies 3 vulnerable to an enemy. I'm going to pick that up over the Metallicize. And another card reward screen. So we have Clothesline, which is new, 2 cost, deal 12 damage, apply 2 weak, and Shrug It Off, gain 8 block, and draw a card. I'm going to take Shrug It Off, because we need a bit more defense in this deck, and Shrug It Off is nice, because it replaces itself by drawing a card. Here we have another elite fight. I'm going to use the Intimidate to get rid of that artifact. So artifact negates status effect when it is applied against you. And then use Thunderclap so I can apply the vulnerable and attempt to kill this backline monster. I didn't block that turn because the Orichalcum blocks me for more than my normal defend would anyway. So I can kill the backliner there, use armaments. Now we'll choose to upgrade the strike and then defend. Here I'll use the Carnage and then kill the backliner so we don't take any damage. I'm going to use the armaments once again, upgrade the strike, defend, and deal more damage. So as you can see, these enemies are adding Dazed into my deck. So they have the same effect as Carnage. So when it is in my hand at the end of the turn, it is exhausted. But it is also unplayable. So I cannot play it to remove it out of my hand. So it is just taking up space in my hand and I can't do anything about it. We also get Blood Vial. At the start of each combat, heal 2 HP. So along with the Burning Blood, that means we're going to be healing 8 HP every fight. So here we have Seeing Red, which is new, gain 2 energy and exhaust, and Infernal Blade. Add a random attack into your hand, it costs 0 this turn. I particularly like Infernal Blade, because once you upgrade it, it goes to 0 cost, so it's just a free attack of any kind you get to add to your hand. Here I will kill the backliner and hopefully kill the frontliner in the next turn, which is not going to happen. Might happen, not quite. Actually, I could have used armaments to upgrade it, but oh well. We're defended for the turn, so it doesn't matter anyway, and we can kill this turn. So here we get some more gold. Another Fear Potion. I don't think that I need that. Another card selection. Iron Wave, which I think is new. Gain 5 block, deal 5 damage. Anger could have a place in this deck with the strength, but it would have to be upgraded pretty soon. I'll take it. See what happens. So we'll weaken so we don't take as much damage. And attempt to kill this looter in the back quickly because the looter steals 15 gold from me whenever it attacks. So it's going to take a lot of gold from me over the course of combat. I also think I'm going to use the Snecko oil. I got another defend, I guess, but that's not exactly what I was hoping for. Better than nothing, I guess. So we only take 3 damage this turn. Then I kill the looter and deal some damage to the frontliner. Then Carnage to kill. So we get some gold, and as well as the gold that the looter stole from me. And we have Feed, deal 10 damage. If fatal, raise your max HP by 3 and exhaust. So fatal triggers whenever this card kills a non-minion enemy. Reckless Charge, which is 0 cost, deal 7 damage. Shuffle a Dazed into your draw pile, which we've seen before. It's an unplayable ethereal card. And then Body Slam, deal damage equal to your current block. So I think I'm going to take Feed because gaining max HP is very good in this game. Because when you gain max HP, it also heals you for the amount of HP that you gain. So it's also sort of a heal card, I guess. I'm also gonna lift here so that we get our 3 strength at the start of combat. And so this enemy here will, I guess, charge up for a turn and then attack for a lot of damage on the second turn. So just try and do as much as I can on this turn. I also think that I'm going to use the Dex Potion in this fight because I feel like it's going to be useful. Upgrade the Infernal Blade, we get Whirlwind, which is not exactly the best, and we lose our Carnage, which is disappointing. But oh well. I think we should still be okay in this fight. It's just going to be a bit rougher. I am also going to try and save the Feed to gain max HP by killing this enemy. The Weaken is nice. I'll upgrade the Anger so they're more powerful. I still kind of want to save the Feed. I probably shouldn't. I'll play it. It's unlikely that I'll get to play that properly in this fight. I'm going to play the Thunderclap then the Bash because it deals more damage. And the Anger. Orichalcum blocking me for some damage. Here the enemy is not attacking me, so I can just attempt to just kill. Actually, there's something I should talk about. Whirlwind. Whirlwind is an X cost card, so when you play it, it uses the rest of your energy that you have for the turn, and it applies its effect X times. So here, I will use Pummel Strike, and I think I just need to attack this enemy. So here, apply Vulnerable and kill. So that fight didn't go too badly, so here we get to add a rare card to the deck. So we have Juggernaut. Whenever you gain block, deal 5 damage to a random enemy, another power. Offering, lose 6 HP, gain 2 energy, draw 3 cards, and exhaust. Double tap, this turn your next attack is played twice. So if any of you are looking at Offering and thinking that's OP, you're correct, it is. Here we get to choose a boss relic. So these are typically more powerful relics that you only find after defeating a boss. So we have Black Blood, which replaces Burning Blood at the end of combat, heal 12 HP, so instead of 6. The Runic Pyramid, at the end of your turn you no longer discard your hand. And the Runic Cube. Whenever you lose 1 HP, draw 1 card. So here I'm going to take the Black Blood because it's better than the other ones for me. So we're going to be healing a considerable amount of HP per fight. So we can afford to be a bit more reckless and deal more damage with this deck. So I think I'm going to go up here, grab this merchant, and fight 2 elites to get some relics, along with a lot of question marks for hopefully some good stuff. Here I'll play Carnage and Strike. So this enemy has an ability called Barricade, so its block is not removed at the start of its turn. So it can be quite annoying to try and deal with. Although we should be okay. Okay. Gain some gold, add a card to our deck. So here we have Pummel, which is a new one. Deal 2 damage 5 times and exhaust. So I'm going to take Pummel because it's upgraded, and also with the strength that we have, it applies it for every instance of damage that this card deals. So technically this card has strength applied to it 5 times. So it will deal 5 damage 5 times instead of 2 because of the 3 strength that we have. Going to go to an unknown space. So here, venturing through a series of tombs, you are faced with a large sarcophagus studded with gems in the center of a circular room. You cannot make out the writing on the coffin, however you do notice black fog seeping out from the sides. So I can choose to open the coffin, obtain a relic, and have a 50% chance of becoming cursed, or leave. I'm going to take the chance and gain the relic, and we do not get the curse, luckily. So we have Self-Forming Clay. Whenever you lose HP, gain 3 block next turn. You come upon a dapper-looking, cheery gremlin. It's time to spin the wheel. Are you ready? Of course you are. Play. So you don't actually have an option of leaving this event, so we just have to see what we get. And we get HP, which is not useful because we're already at full health. At least we didn't get something bad though, because that event can give you curses and deal damage to you and whatever. So here this enemy has an effect called Plated Armor, which we've seen before. So essentially, receiving unblocked attack damage reduces Plated Armor by 1. So every time that we deal damage to him, or unblocked attack damage, so you see there I hit his block, it didn't reduce the metallicize, but if I hit his HP, it reduces it by 1. And then we will block for a small amount of damage. Actually, I shouldn't have blocked there because Orichalcum would have blocked me for more damage. I'm going to hit with the Carnage, and then block. So you can see the Self-Forming Clay activate whenever we get dealt damage. We dealt a considerable amount of damage there with that pummel, which is pretty nice. And we can kill. So we get a fire potion and another card option, all of which we have seen. I'll take another cleave. Do I have a cleave in the deck already? I don't have a cleave in the deck already. Great, I have a cleave in the deck. Yep, so we're going to go over to the merchant here. And take Sword Boomerang, deal 3 damage to a random enemy 3 times, so similar to Pummel, it gets strength applied to it multiple times, so it's really good. I'll also take Gremlin Horn, whenever an enemy dies, gain 1 energy and draw a card, and I'll just hover over the other relics for you guys to look at if you want. Here I'm going to take on another elite, because we're at full HP, so I'm not too concerned. Play the Carnage. Almost forgot about the Yango. So we'll weaken the enemy once more. And use Sword Boomerang, some damage, and the strike. Here we'll use Thunderclap, Pummel Strike, and we get the Offering to get some more energy, and just deal some more damage. In fact, I don't really want to take that extra damage, so I'll use the Fire Potion to kill. Here we have Meat on the Bone. If your HP is at or below 50% at the end of combat, heal 12 HP. So we have a lot of healing during combat, which is going to make it considerably harder to kill us, which is nice. I think we've seen Iron Wave before, but just in case, gain 5 block, deal 5 damage. Flame Barrier, gain 12 block whenever you are attacked this turn, deal 4 damage back. And then Berserk, at 0 cost power, gain 2 vulnerable at the start of your turn, gain an energy. I don't want any of these, so I'm going to skip and move on to the next space. And we don't have any defense here, so I'm gonna see this enemy gets attacked a bit more from that. Return that to the top of the deck using the headbutt that we got from Infernal Blade, and then kill this enemy. We get an extra energy from Gremlin Horn and draw a card into the Sword Boomerang, which we can use again. And then the Orichalcum will heal us for a little bit of damage. We can use Thunderclap, Carnage, and Offering, hoping to kill this turn. There we go. Get some more gold and another card choice. So we have Twin Strike, which is new, which is deal 5 damage twice. Again, applies 2 instances of strength, so it's really good for us. Continue moving up to this left side. Here, because we're at full HP, I will choose to upgrade a card, and I will choose to upgrade the Sword Boomerang so that it applies more strength, so that it attacks an extra time, applying more strength. Sundial, every 3 times you shuffle your draw pile, gain 2 energy. Now the rest side will upgrade another card. I think it's probably time to upgrade this Infernal Blade to be 0 cost. Then we'll fight another elite. So here I'm going to use the Fear Potion on the backline enemy, so that I'm able to kill this turn. Because this backline enemy applies an effect on me called Entangle, which stops me from playing attacks. So because this deck is so aggressive and doesn't have much defense, that would be pretty bad for us. Intimidate to block some of the damage, and then kill this backliner, which we draw into Offering, which should allow us to get the kill. Lantern, start each combat with an additional energy. Then we find another potion, Liquid Memories, choose a card in your discard pile and return it to your hand. It costs 0 this turn. Add a card to your deck. I'm not sure if we've seen Clash. Can only be played if every card in your hand is an attack, deal 14 damage. Here I think Clash is actually okay, because we do have a lot of attacks in the deck at this point, so it's more likely that we have a full hand of attacks than skills. But with the Offering, we're able to play out a lot of skills if we need to. So here I'm going to bash for the vulnerability and play the defend, so that it allows me to play the Clash and deal damage. Even though we do only block for 1 less block by doing that, but we deal some extra damage. So I'm going to use Infernal Blade and Fiendfire for the kill. Fiendfire, exhaust your hand and deal, I think it's 7 damage for every card that is exhausted to an enemy. Distilled Chaos, play the top 3 cards of your draw pile. We get another card choice. Warcry I don't think we've seen. Draw 1 card, put a card from your hand on top of your draw pile and exhaust. I don't want any of these, so I'll skip. Here we have another Merchant. I'm not too interested in any of these cards, so I'll take the card removal service and I will remove... I'll actually remove a Strike from the deck, just so our defense is a little bit more consistent and it's getting one of the worst cards out of the deck. Here I'll take Mutagenic Strength. So this event, a man with an eye patch and a devilish grin strides up to you. Hey there, stranger. Interested in advancing science? I can make you stronger than any training or blessing. You're gonna need it if you're one of those heroes with a death wish. What do you say? So you can test Jax, get Jaxed, become the test subject, transform 2 cards, or ingest mutagens and obtain a special relic. So Jax is a card, 0 cost, lose 3 HP, gain 2 strength. Transforming cards is essentially transforming 2 of your cards in your deck into 2 more random cards. And the special relic is Mutagenic Strength. Start each combat with 3 strength. At the end of your turn, lose 3 strength. I think I might actually take Jax, despite the fact that it, that we lose HP from it. Because of how much healing we have from our relics, I think it's not going to be too important. And gaining strength is really good. In fact, I'll upgrade it so we gain an extra strength. Because having some strength gain in the deck other than Giria, sorry, is good. So he will intimidate. I'll actually play the Distilled Chaos. Gain some strength, it's nice. I also think that I will just try to deal damage. I shouldn't have defended there either, because the Orichalcum would have defended us for more, so that was a misplay on my part. Here I'll use Armaments to upgrade, and then use Shrug It Off to get rid of the skill in my hand. Also apply Vulnerable again, so that it's vulnerable. The enemy is vulnerable for next turn, and attack with Clash. So use the Offering. Play the Infernal Blade. Okay, so we're gonna play Pummel, and then Sword Boomerang, and Headbutt to bring the Sword Boomerang back to the top of the deck. Anger, and play the Feed and the Strike. And then I'll use Liquid Memories to bring back... I'm actually going to bring back Pummel Strike so that we can draw into the Sword Boomerang and play it. Because I don't want to play the defense because the Orichalcum heals me for 1 more. So we should be okay getting through this fight pretty easily now. So that went pretty well. We gained some gold and another rare card. I could take another feed, but I don't think it's that important. We also have Impervious, gain 3 block and 30 block, sorry, and Exhaust, and Corruption, which is a power. Skills cost 0, and whenever you play a skill, exhaust it. I think I am just gonna skip here. See, we get another choice of relics. So we have Fusion Hammer. Gain energy at the start of your turn. You can no longer smith at rest sites. Busted Crown. Gain energy at the start of your turn. Future card rewards have 2 less cards to choose from. And Astrolabe, or Astrolabe, I'm not sure. Upon pickup, transform 3 cards and then upgrade them. I think I'll take the Busted Crown here because having 2 less cards to choose from is not too much of a problem because, well, I'm pretty sure that our deck is pretty good at this moment in time, so we'll take that. See, we'll move on to the next floor. And we can fight 2 elites this floor, and this right here gets a few question marks, plus a merchant later down the line before the boss, which I think is pretty okay. Sure, we'll go with that. So here these enemies have lifelink. If other enemies are still alive, it revives in 2 turns with 50% HP. So you kind of want to kill them all together instead of one by one. Although... Although, since I have the Gremlin Horn, I can kind of afford to kill them one by one if I need to. Use the feed to kill the backliner here so that we get the max HP. I believe we should have gotten the max HP. Maybe these are classified as minion enemies, I'm not sure. Kill the frontliner with the Carnage. And then... Here we can upgrade the Clash to deal enough damage, play the other Defend, and kill with Clash. There we go. Get a Dexterity Potion and another card. Don't really want Burning Pact, so we'll skip. So here this enemy has Strength Up, which essentially at the end of its turn gives it 3 strength. So we want to kill pretty quickly before it can manage to do that, which it seems like we're going to be able to do. Pummel for the kill. Gain 10 gold and another card reward. I will take Headbutt, which we've seen before from the... what's it called? Infernal Blade. The Infernal Blade, sorry. Which returns a card from our discard pile to the top of the draw pile, which is good with the Sword Boomerang. Here we can choose to offer all of our gold and obtain a relic. At the start of each turn, apply 1 weak to all enemies. I kind of want to do that because being able to stop the amount of damage that enemies can do is really important, considering we don't block very much with this deck. And I think 150 gold is worth that. Here we'll play Defend, and Strike, Clash, Pummel. So here this enemy inflicts us with Frail and Weaken. Frail, which is gain 25% less block from cards for 3 turns. Here though, I will... I guess just play the armaments and then the strike, because I'm not too concerned about taking damage. Actually, I shouldn't have played the armaments, because I would have been fully defended if I hadn't. But here I'll play Jax, and then Infernal Blade, play the Thunderclap, Carnage, Clothesline, Feed. I still kind of want to save the Feed for the max HP. We do have a lot of aggression in the next couple of hands, so I think we should be okay for killing this enemy if we don't play the Feed. In fact, I'll put the Feed on top of the deck, because I'm pretty confident, yeah, that I can kill next turn with it. I'll end my turn. Here are the offerings. Play Carnage, Pummel Strike, Anger, then Feed for the kill, and gain 3 max HP. Get some gold and another card reward. So Bloodletting, gain 1 energy, lose 3 HP. I'm not too interested in that. Even though we do heal a lot, I don't think we should have too much HP loss in our deck. Here there are a lot of good colorless cards that go with this deck, so I'm tempted to lose the 10 HP. You touch it. A sharp pain runs through you, followed by vivid flashes of a distant memory. Whose memories are these? We do have a lot of HP. I will take this. Violence, put 3 random attacks from your draw pile into your hand. Exhaust, that's incredible. Panic button is also really nice with this deck. Sorry, I'm not reading that out, I just got excited. Gain 30 block, you cannot gain block from cards for 2 turns, so essentially that allows us to block one big hit on a turn that we don't have defense, which is quite often with this deck that we don't have defense, so that we can focus on attacking on that turn. Good Instincts is also a good card for this deck because it's cheap defense, so we don't have to worry about prioritizing our energy for defense instead of attacking. Here I'll fight the Elite. So we have the Giant Head, which has the slow debuff, so whenever I play a card, Giant Head receives 10% more damage from attacks this turn, but it has a lot of HP. I'm gonna play Pummel Strike. Play our whole hand that turn. Here we have the Violence, which will draw cards out of the deck for us. We can play Bash, Sword Boomerang, and then headbutt the Sword Boomerang back to the top of the deck. Here we get to apply Vulnerable and Weak with the Uppercut. And play Sword Boomerang, Cleave, Twin Strike, Defend. So that probably should have been in a different order to deal more damage with the slow, but I think we should be pretty okay for this fight. I also think I will play the Panic button because I don't think the enemy is going to be attacking next turn. So I don't think I need to worry about defense for the next 2 turns as much. It is attacking for a lot this turn, so that was a bit of a misplay. Although we might be okay. Possibly. Although we can't gain block. Huh. Carnage. And we are able to kill. Great. So here we get the Ornamental Fan. Every time you play 3 attacks in a single turn, gain 4 block. It's great for this deck because we can play our attacks to gain block. I do not have 2 Angers in this deck, so I probably will take a second Anger. I don't think I need a third though, because otherwise there'll just be too many of them and I won't get to my other attacks. Here I'll play Armaments to upgrade the Twin Strike, and then just attack this backline enemy. Try and remove it quickly. Defend. So these enemies here have Thorns. When attacked, deals 5 damage back. So we're going to want to try and kill them with big damage. Not just a bunch of little attacks. Otherwise we'll take a lot of damage. I think I'm going to leave it there, because next turn, thanks to the self-forming clay, we get 12 block, so we can kind of just hit the enemy and kill it without taking too much damage. Here I will take another Shrug It Off, especially since it's upgraded. We go to another rest site, and I'll smith a card. I think Armaments is a good idea to upgrade, so it upgrades all of our cards in the in my hand. Paper Frog. Enemies with Vulnerable take 75% more damage than 50%, or 75% more damage rather than 50%, sorry. That's going to be great, because we deal a lot of Vulnerable to do a lot of our damage. I think I'll upgrade the Intimidate, so it applies 2 weak. this fight could be a little bit rough. So essentially every second turn, this enemy will gain, can't remember the name of it, but a buff that pretty much makes it so that you can only deal 1 damage per attack. So you'll see that in a second, but I think I'm going to use the italicize here to gain some strength, and headbutt to bring that back to the deck, and just deal as much damage as I can. And since we are not ending our turn without block, we won't get the Orichalcum, so I'll play the defense. So fully defended, and here, intangible, reduce all damage taken and HP loss to 1 this turn. Intangible is reapplied every other turn. So, essentially we can only deal 1 damage per instance of damage this turn. So you'll see that the Sword Boomerang only deals 1 damage 3 times, instead of the usual, which is more. I'll also play the Carnage though, so that I don't lose it. I'll also play the Panic button, because he's attacking for a lot of damage this turn. And I'll also just throw out the attacks, because why not? So we managed to not take damage that turn, which is pretty good. Here we can apply to weak, so next turn it will be weakened, even though it doesn't affect this turn. Also I can play out all the rest of my cards in this turn, so we should be okay in this fight. But I just still need to be worried because this enemy deals a lot of damage. I don't think I can deal 15 instances of damage this turn, so I'm going to prioritize defending, which I have done, and then throw out the rest of my energy that I can for attacks. So overall we didn't take too much damage in that fight, it was okay, but in fact with all the healing that we have, we're actually back up to pretty high HP, so I'm not as worried as I thought I would be. So here we have Nunchaku. Every time you play 10 attacks, gain an energy and another card reward. I will take another Pummel Strike, especially considering it's upgraded. Get another Merchant. I think I might take another Clash. That's all I want from here. The rest of them aren't too useful for me. Is there anything I desperately want to upgrade? Not really. I might just go to this unknown space instead of an upgrade. Ooh. Okay. So this enemy has Malleable. Upon receiving attack damage, gains 3 block. And block gain increases as Malleable is triggered and resets to 3 at the start of your turn. It also has Reactive. Upon receiving attack damage, changes its intent, so it could go from dealing 11 damage to dealing, I think, 30 something, or something like 12 multiple times, or anything like that. And it can also change to giving you a negative effect, which is a curse, which will be added to my deck, which I do not want. So I'm really not happy about having to deal with this. I have the feed prepared for if this happens, but I don't have enough damage to break through the shield, so I get a curse. Wonderful. Dang it. Oh well. It's okay, I guess. Here I'm just going to use the Shrug It Off so that I can use the Clash to kill. Ah, that sucks. So here we have Essence of Steel, gain 4 plated armor. Another card. Sever Soul, exhaust all non-attack cards in your hand, deal 16 damage. Not interested. Hopefully I can remove this curse. Nope. Okay. I guess we're just sticking with a curse in our deck for the rest of this run. I will actually read out the curse though. So Parasite, it's an unplayable curse card. If transformed or removed from your deck, lose 3 max HP. So it's not exactly bad for us unless we remove it, but it does take up a draw space that I would have for another card, so it is kind of disappointing. We'll play the Pommel Strike because it deals more damage. I gained energy. Somehow. Oh, Nunchaku. I must have played 10 attacks, I wasn't keeping track of that. Then I'll use the Pommel to deal some damage. So we don't take damage this turn, and we should be able to pretty easily kill this turn. So here, the Parasite in my hand doesn't let me play the Clash because it's not an attack card, which is disappointing. We still get the kill, but that's the sort of thing that could happen in the boss fight and could possibly kill us. So we have Reckless Charge, not interested. We'll upgrade another card because we're at full HP. And I think I want to upgrade the Bash, just so it's more turns of vulnerable, so I don't have to worry about it as much, about reapplying it. Okay. See, we have Thunderclap, adding Body Slam to our deck, which isn't the greatest thing in the world. I will drink all of these potions though, because I have no reason not to. This is the final fight. I'll play the Cleave. And kill that frontliner. Kill that frontliner. Gain some block. Gain some more block. Use the Body Slam. And Pummel. So that wasn't that bad for first turn. What's no discard pile? Yeah, I don't really want to bring anything back with that yet. So here I'll use Offering. Play out the Defend. Not yet. Okay, I will play out the Defend so that I can play the Clash. Play it now, and I will put the Thunderclap on top of my deck so that I can apply, so I can be guaranteed to apply Vulnerable next turn. Strike, strike, and I'll save the feed, I guess, for just in case. So far we've taken no damage this fight, which is pretty nice. Here we'll use the panic button because it's a lot of damage incoming. I should have played the Shrug It Off first, but oh well. We also lose the Carnage here, which kind of blows. I think I will use this just for probably a Clash. I think is going to do the most damage. Actually, how much vulnerable do we have? 4. Okay, yeah, no, just a Clash. I gain 1 energy, but it's not enough for the Carnage. Could I have actually gained? I can't gain energy from anything, no. Oh well. Fully defended for that attack. Finally get the Jax and the Intimidate off. Maybe I should have saved the Intimidate. But, oh well. Managed to kill. And then the Awakened one will transform into its next form. Luckily our no block debuff is gone, so we can actually block this turn. Play Armaments. Probably should have played that before the Thunderclap, but not that it matters too much. So we take a bit of damage in this fight, finally. Actually, no, we had taken damage already. So never mind. Shrug it off. Play Defend. Play the Defend so that we can play Clash. Fully defended for this attack, which is surprising. I didn't think that we would get so much defense out of this deck, but it's actually working considerably well. We can play out all our hand this turn and be fully blocked. And play the bash, the headbutt to put, let's see, probably the pommel strike back on top of the deck. So we'll take a decent amount of damage this turn, but the enemy is vulnerable and it doesn't have too much HP, so it should be pretty easy to kill. Oh, as you can see, the enemy is putting voids into my deck, which whenever I draw it, I lose 1 energy. We have the sword boomerang to kill. And this is the first success of the series on technically the first episode. The thump, the thump, thump. A deep pulsing dread can be felt throughout the room. Is this the heart of the Spire? The source of this evil? You ready your blade. Attack? You deal 705 damage. The heart squirms and bleeds, but is ultimately still pounding. Are your mightiest attacks not enough? You ask yourself, have I been here before? You feel that you've dealt a total of 66,727 damage to the heart. A total of 14,636,643,707 damage has been dealt by all who have challenged it. The heart pulses louder and louder as your consciousness fades. Sleep. So the damage that we dealt is the score that we get for the run, so 705. And we get an unlock. So we unlock 3 new cards. So we have Heavy Blade, deal 14 damage, and Strength affects this card 3 times. Spot Weakness, if the enemy intends to attack, gains 3 Strength, and Limit Break, double your Strength and Exhaust. So overall, that run went pretty well. We had a pretty fun deck, and we managed to slay the Spire. And here, because we beat the game with the Ironclad, we unlock the red key. So once those 3 keys are unlocked by beating the game with these 3 first characters, you unlock the ability to fight the heart of the Spire. But thank you all very much for watching. This is the end of the episode. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you all in the next video.